Hey everybody, it is June 2nd, 2021, and as you know, we just got back from a Mojave trip on Monday, and in all honesty, the three of us were pretty beat after that trip, so we did not get together and record this week. So what we're going to do is play the recap of last year's Mojave trip. That way, that'll be fresh in your mind. Next week, we will do a recap of the 2021 Mojave trip with 27 vehicles and go from there. But wanted to put out an episode this week. I thought it'd be fun to compare last year's recap to this year's. So take a listen to this and then tune in next week and we'll talk about all the stuff that happened on the 2021 Mojave Trail Expedition. Thanks. Talk to you next week.
Welcome to the Trailchasers podcast.
This episode is presented by Icon Vehicle Dynamics. I got to bomb through the desert this weekend with confidence because the Icon suspension soaked up the bumps and kept the truck planted to the ground. If you want to experience this level of performance, go to iconvehicledynamics.com and get Icon equipped. And by Nexen Tire. The Rodian MTXs performed flawlessly this weekend through rocky terrain, through hard pack, through sandy sections. I never had any concerns about losing my traction in the desert, and I loved it. You should go to nexentireusa.com and get a set of Rodian MTXs for your rig.
Today on the show, we talk about our successful Mojave trip. Nobody died or got maimed. No vehicles broke down. The kids behaved, and the tacos were delicious. My only complaint would be the lack of conspiracy talk around the campfire. We did get in some really good 90210 talk, though, so, there's that.
Hey, did you guys know Jason Priestley was in Tombstone?
Stupid.
It's time for the Trailchasers podcast. Are you ready? Let's begin. Trailchaser, let them chase your adventure. Trailchaser, our time is now. Get out there and chase your adventure. Get out there and chase your adventure. Get out there and chase your adventure. Get out there and chase your adventure.
Hey everybody, it is Monday, May 25th, and we're recording live on YouTube with a handful of listeners in the feed already. And I think we're gonna call this the zombie episode or the we didn't die episode or what. But literally 6 hours ago, we got home from a 3-day trip across the Mojave Trail.
Is it just me, or does it seem like those days were, like, they flew by, right?
Yes and no. I feel like they flew by because it was like for me, it was like a frantic, making sure everything goes well. But
right.
But like today, I feel like I've been in the desert for a month and a half. Like I feel like it's been
but it's just
40
crazy.
days and 40 nights.
Sitting at home now, it's like
yes,
we were talking about this thing like a month ago, and then 3 weeks ago, and then 2 weeks ago, and we're like, dude, we're not even ready.
Yes,
and it's over already.
Yeah, even as of was it Friday?
I mean, Friday night, I was changing the oil and like doing a once over on my truck.
Yeah, Friday night, it was still like, I hope I'm ready to roll at 7:00 in the morning. So we'll talk about the show. I mean, we'll talk about the event and kind of how it played out, because I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that it was it was a great freaking trip. It was an absolutely great trip. So we started out Friday morning, and before that,
Saturday morning.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Before that, I had put together a 5-page itinerary for the group. I mean, I am a planner. I'm going to throw this up there on YouTube so you guys can see. This is what you get when you come on a trail chaser. When you come on a trail chaser run, this is coordinates, GPS coordinates, lunch spots, alternate lunch spots, campsites, alternate campsites. It's you know what? There's some effort that goes into this, and not a single one of you bastards read the itinerary. not
it's called
you.
Spontaneity. Like I'm spontaneous.
Not one. I don't
like having my life planned out for alternate lunch spots.
Dude,
Alternate lunch spots?
I literally have
Give me a break.
I literally have three
lunch
screenshots of what the weather's going to be like. And day one at the gas station, someone says, "You know it's going to be hot out there? You son of a." Are you so?
Oh man,
I am. I like you guys. You know what? I do it for me. I'm going to do it for me. So
I'm frankly stop. Like you're still complaining about it. This is not the first time. This is every time.
I know.
Every time we go out,
I know better.
You know. Okay.
I know better.
I feel bad because it's like a very well written and like well planned out itinerary. But yeah, I mean,
you don't feel bad.
No, you don't care. You don't care about me at all.
I'm just trying to make them feel bad.
Screw you both. So we, there was all kinds of communication prior to the event, and then Saturday morning, the first stop was at a Chevron here in Eastvale, and so Chris ZR2 Dave showed up at that event. His girlfriend Crystal in her brand new JL Wrangler. My brother-in-law Jason, his wife Shelly, and my nephew Chris in their Lexus GX470. My niece and her friend in her friend's 4Runner. What year was that 4Runner, Jose? What gen was that?
It was a fifth gen, like the current model, current gen.
Okay,
but
not very nice.
Yeah.
Joe Darwin from EVGA showed up in his, I don't know, mildly built, somewhat modified rig.
He showed up in Gravedigger. Is what he showed up in.
And by the way, Cody, thanks again for introducing me and Matt to Joe.
Exactly.
I am sorry, dude.
Oh, hey, man.
I'm sorry, dude.
What's up, sir?
Oh, bro. Joe from EVJ. Oh my god.
I'm sorry, dude. Everything was so frantic, like in the morning. So we'll get to that point. You can give me a hard time because you're right. I didn't. Donato in his F-150 met at the first stop. Our buddy Joe P and his wife Tricia at the first stop, and then Tammy Presley and I in the Ranger at the first stop. We got there, and the one thing I will say about this, everybody on the group, like everybody at least was on time meeting at the different meeting spots on the way out there. We met up at the first Chevron. We went to the second Chevron where we picked up Joe K and Justin in his Rubicon Wrangler. Matt,
he went to the wrong Chevron, by the way.
That's right. I knew someone was going to do it because there's two Chevrons that we meet at regularly, one off Sierra, one off Summit. And I moved it to the one on Summit because I had a bigger parking lot, and Joe K went to the wrong one. That's right. Matt and Mike and Johnny, and then Jose met up at the stop number 2 in Fontana. And then we went up to 15, and we picked up my brother and Casey and Susan and Zen in Susan's 2016 JK Sahara. They just got it 3 weeks ago. She was a little bit panicked about taking it out, but we'll get to that. We did have one casualty. I expected more than one casualty. We did have one casualty, and he's not in the live feed tonight yet. Sorry, Brian from Air Down in the comments section says only people who read the itinerary get introductions. Thank you for having my back, bro. I appreciate that. So Joey Mendoza was going to join us on this trip, and he was heading down. So on his Instagram, he was showing how he was reworking his front steering links and redoing a bunch of stuff in his axles. And I was like, dude, you're brave. You're going on a trip. He lives in Sacramento. He was going to drive down Friday to go and meet us Saturday morning in Barstow. And I wake up at 4:30 in the morning and on Saturday, and I see a message from him that says, hey man, we made it as far as Fresno and we had to stop. There's something wrong with the truck, death wobble, blah, blah, blah. He's like, don't wait for me. We're going to try to figure this out in the morning. And then, so we're out in the trail. At some point Saturday afternoon, I get a message from him, and he's like, yeah, I think we lost the engine, and we're getting it towed back to Sacramento. So I feel bad for Joey, but we missed you on this one, Joey. Hopefully you show up on the next one. But that was the group. I mean, we ended up having 12 vehicles, a really good mix of vehicle make, model, lift, tires, what have you, everything from stock to, I will say that the two most impressive vehicles on that trip were the Wrangler that Joey D drove, that Rubicon with Dana 60s and 40s.
Yeah, it had 60s. It had King triple bypass shocks and secondaries.
Yeah,
it was
the thing.
It was like an off-road machine. It was like an off-road race machine.
It was amazing. It was absolutely amazing. And then ZR2 Dave. I mean, we talk about ZR2 Dave all the time in his truck, but that truck is every bit the beast that you think it is. Like that, I was super impressed with his truck. They got it dialed in, the camper shell, everything is just sweet on Dave's truck. I was jealous. No?
Yeah,
No,
I didn't he was towards the front of the group though most of the time, so I didn't really get to see the ZR2 in action. But yeah, I mean I'm going to skip ahead a little bit, but going through the rough section of the trip, when he just crawled right up that little section, like it was just a flat road.
Yeah. We'll talk about that. So that was, I mean, the group in general. Like I said, we had a stock Wrangler Sahara. Matt, your Frontier stock for now. We'll talk about that. The 4Runner that Cammy was in was stock. So. We've mentioned it before that you can do this trip in a stock 4-wheel drive vehicle. Tammy had a couple friends that were talking about possibly joining, and that they have 2-wheel drive. And I was like, yeah, they could for a big portion of the trip, but there are portions where 2-wheel drive, unless you're a really skilled driver and a lot of power, 2-wheel drive is not going to cut it.
It's just the sandy part.
The sandy part.
You're in trouble, and
some of those twisty sections that we get in, like with all the yucca trees and all that stuff. With some of that twisty section, if you're off camber a little bit and you've got a 2-wheel drive open diff, you might find yourself not being able to propel forward.
Oh yeah, that too. Unless you got momentum going into those turns. Yeah, you'll spin for sure.
So that was the group. I will tell you. So the final gas stop was in Goffs, in the city of Goffs, right before we got on the trail. And
city?
Well, yeah, whatever Goffs is. I don't know what Goffs is. And we
the gas station is what it is.
We got there, and I pulled Tammy aside, and I'm all, babe, look at this. We're here at the exact time I said we would be here on the itinerary. We're going to get to the trailhead. We're going to get to the trailhead right on time. I'm so excited right now. And she's like, nobody cares but you. I said,
still nobody cares.
You're right. You're absolutely right. But I'm excited that I got it set up. So
it was 2 stops. It was a 2-stop thing at that point. It wasn't like you coordinated.
Well, but I mean,
deliveries like Amazon or something, and you had 25 stops,
but there was totally a possibility for someone to show up at one of the meeting points late that pushed to the next meeting point, or we broke down on the road. I mean, there was plenty of opportunities for things to go wrong. So we left Goffs, we went to hit the trailhead, and even though we've done this trip, I'm trying to think of how many times I've done the Mojave Trail. I think I started doing it in 2013 or 14, almost every year. I think the only year I didn't do it was 2017 because I was in a cast. But we've always started all the way on the Laughlin side. This year we decided to do something different, and we came in from Goffs and went north to catch the Mojave Trail. So I will tell you that whole portion, the first portion of the trip, like getting to the trailhead. Well, first I missed the trailhead. So for those of you that are trying to figure out the U-turn count, I passed the trailhead and had to make a U-turn to get to the trailhead. But technically we weren't on dirt yet, so I don't know if that counts as a U-turn.
Yes.
No.
It counts, bro.
Yes.
It's a trip U-turn count, not a trail U-turn count.
Okay. So U-turn number 1 was that. And it was like, as we're coming up, I don't know why, but I expected to see a much wider.
No, it was just like a 2-track.
It was
or like a single track, like with by some bushes
with like 4 foot tall bushes on either side, and I'm
Yeah.
like, and I'm looking at it. I passed by it, and it was like you could see the trail marking on my map in the truck, and I'm like, wait, that can't be it. I'm thinking to myself, oh, please God, don't let that be it. And I go up a little bit further. That was it. So I turn around and we go back, and it was the side of the road was super soft and sandy. We all stopped and made lunch there. And I think there was some debate at that point as whether or not we were actually going to proceed down that trail, right?
Well, I mean, we had no other choice. That road ended like half a mile down. It was like the road ended.
Yeah. So we aired everybody down and jumped on the trail. And from that point, that starting point to the, I'll throw it up on the screen here. From that point to where we intersected the Mojave Trail. So we came up from Goff's. I was a little bit, I don't want to say scared. Like it was all unknown from the starting point here through the first mining town to this point where we caught the actual Mojave Trail. It was unknown. And for me, I was like, okay, this trail could end. It could dead end at any moment, and or narrow out, or get super rutted, or be impassable at any moment. And I've got 11 vehicles behind me.
Yeah, I mean, think about it. You're worried when you know where you're going. So just imagine the stress level of going somewhere you've never been before.
True, very true.
But it paid off though. That was a fun. little trail. And
what was
some interesting? I'm assuming those were some kind of mines or whatever. The foundations and stuff that we ended up stopping at.
What was your guys' thought in comparison to the straight shot from Laughlin? I feel like. Well, what was your thought? Well, how did you guys feel compared the straight shot from Laughlin that we've done in the past to this one?
Well, I was just hoping that it wasn't a boring dirt road, like just flat, like a graded road, because that would be boring.
Yeah.
Because there's some cool stuff starting from the AV. We always take that wrong. I don't think we've ever taken the trailhead, the actual road, the first, I don't know how many miles, like 15 miles or something. We always end up in that ridge line doing those tight little trail, those hill climbs and stuff. Those are a lot of fun. So I really like that. I was kind of bummed we weren't going to do that. And then there's that other kind of hill climb where me and Jose saw that guy last year. We weren't going to do that. So I was like, man, this better be like interesting, because there's some cool stuff that we're not going to do. And it was good.
Yeah.
I think, I've only done the Mojave Trail twice. And then the first year was last year we did it. The only thing I would wanted to do was that hill climb that Matt's talking, where we saw that guy on the ridge. Yeah, that's like a cool little it's a cool introductory. Like, all right, dude, you're in the Mojave Trail or on the Mojave Trail.
Yeah,
because you see the whole trail once you get to that ridge line, you see just from miles the trail where you're going.
And speaking of your guys' ghost sightings, Tammy on the way home told me that ZR2 Dave saw ghosts out there this time, and he didn't want to say anything to anybody. And I was like, "What? He should have said something to Matt and Jose." So we're gonna have to have it.
If you see ghosts, you come get me and say, "Dude, there's some ghosts over here. Let's check them out." Why wouldn't you get me?
Wait, dude, hold on. You're barely telling us right now.
It was on the way home that she told me this, and so I am. We have to get
what kind of ghost?
I don't know. I don't know. We'll
call him.
Call him right now.
I'm not going to call him right now. maybe a little bit how much time we have. But we. She said that he'd seen something, and I was like, why didn't she even asked him? She's like, haven't you heard Matt and Jose's stories about the ghosts on the trail? And he's like, I don't think I have. So we need to have a conversation.
No. I didn't see ghosts. I saw dudes. Yeah, I saw dudes. Make no mistake. I just, I want to see ghosts. I saw dudes. I saw a guy. He was very fast. and then I saw another guy like standing at the top of the. Yeah,
the very fast guy though. You had other people that
I think
that
Donato
corroborated. Yeah, you had other people
Yeah.
that corroborated that sightseeing, that seeing. I didn't see it. So the very first stop we made was at this little like mining. It was obviously a mining spot
It looked like a fort or something.
but
right?
it was really cool. The way it was, the structure, it looked like I think Matt was the one that said it was built by Egyptians or something.
Yeah,
So-
yeah.
so
It was
Letty's
purpose
like-
built.
Yeah, Letty was like, "Hey, what was that? Those Aztec ruins you guys stopped at?"
Yeah,
But they did.
That's
They
it.
looked like that. They, other than the giant beehive that was embedded in the wall, it was super cool. The kids got out and all kind of played around there, and I thought
it's like one of those things though. When you have your kids, they're kids, so they're going to run around. But that is not like a cool place. You want your, you know what I'm saying? There's a lot of sharp shit,
Yeah.
a lot of rusted metal, busted glass,
Yes.
and you're
say
out. You're 100 miles from anything.
You're like you
It's
said
like-
something like it's tetanus waiting to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, here's your tetanus. Here's a side order of tetanus for you. And you're like, oh man, at least Joe K's here, So if one of the kids takes a header off of something, like, he'll probably be okay. Walk it off, kid. But it's like kind of a lot of stress, especially that specific site, because again, there was like a lot of things for kids to climb, and they did, But it definitely a purpose built site. Like again, I wonder what it looked like 50, 60 years ago.
Yeah, when it was actually being used, it was cool though. It was a really cool kind of, not something that you would normally find. I felt like the drive to it was interesting. So we all pulled in there, walked around. I walked over to that shaft, and I'm looking at it on the map. It is a giant hole. The one they had a big fence around. I think Casey was like, you don't put a fence around something unless there's something there.
No, there's gold in there.
Yeah,
As I said, you don't put a fence around a hole unless there's gold in that hole.
And it was
gold.
It is a giant hole in the ground. And then
Either that or that's where they keep the UFOs, and the UFOs fly in and out of that hole.
yeah, it's possible.
It's one or the other. So one of two things, guys.
It could only be one of those two options.
Yep, exactly. It's true.
But and someone had said, how did you find this place? And I honestly, I literally like scroll through maps on a regular basis, and I'm looking at the maps, and I'm like, oh, I wonder where this trail goes. And if we started here, and then as you're following a trail, you're like, what is that? That's cool. I want to see what that is. And so we drop a pin on the map and go, let's see if we can make a path to go to there. And that worked out this time. So there was that first stop. The second stop was another mining site. There wasn't a whole lot there. And then we made our way to what was it when everybody was like wanting the Hanta ranch?
The Hanta house.
The Hanta house.
That ranch.
Yeah.
So last year we came across a full ranch, like with corrals and quarters, and it was 2-story,
Like a garage.
Yes.
There was like car parts and stuff.
and it was 2 foot thick of rat poop. It was horrible. I don't even remember where that is now, because every time you guys kept talking about the Hanta house, I kept thinking about the old cabin with the beehives in it, and that obviously wasn't the right one. But I have to go back to the 2019 map and see if I can figure out where that house was so we can go there again. But I remember it being off the main trail. We took a different route for some reason.
I think so you know how we comparing it to last year's route, like midway of day one, where we got like on the road, there was actually like a road portion.
Oh,
like
yeah,
before the
yeah.
train tracks. We had made a right somewhere before there.
Yeah.
And I think that's where that ranch is at.
Yeah,
towards
you're right. You're right.
Yep.
You're absolutely right. So it's very uneventful as far as vehicular issues. Casey left Big Tasty at home, so we didn't have any phantom noises to find.
Joe K had some phantom noises.
That's right.
Oh, that's right.
Right? On the way out there,
right.
we pulled over.
We had to pull over because Joe K had noises on his Jeep, and we couldn't figure out what it was. Even on the way home, he was still trying to figure out what it was.
He was still trying to figure out what that noise was.
But he didn't overheat, which is a win, and his alternator worked, which is a win. Because up until like Friday 5 p.m., he was still questionable for this trip because of those two issues. But he worked and got it fixed. Day one, we made our point. We made our way to the campsite, and it's going back to my itinerary. I had a couple spots marked on here as decision points, and it was like, okay, that was a reminder that when we get here, we can make the decision to do this or do that. And every time, my little brother Casey was like, "I think we're approaching decision point 1. Is this decision point 1? What kind of decisions do we need to make today?" Like just mocking me the whole time.
Good.
So we make it to day 1 camp, and again,
well, hold on, dude. You're bypassing a big portion of what happened there. Getting to that campsite was a shit show because the group split up.
Oh God. So
oh yeah.
You're right. Thank you, Jose. So there was a point where we I had
we made a U-turn. So that's U-turn count.
No.
I did. I had a U-turn.
No.
Yep.
I did not have to make a U-turn. That
yes, you did.
No.
Oh, when you,
hold
when you
no.
came,
Let
you came
me.
and got us.
Let me. Yes, but that was not a navigational requirement due to wrong directions. No.
Okay, we were on the trail. On the route. We stopped because that's where we had to see like where we're gonna go camping. And Cody's like, "Let me go check this out. Let me see if we were good to go."
Well, because on the maps at that point where I made the left to go down towards the cabin, it looks on the map. It looks like 2-track, totally doable. In real life, when we were there, you couldn't really see the track. There wasn't a lot of trail there to work from. And I'm looking at it, and I'm like, there's the trail we have to go to. I know if I turn left here and make my way through, I'll find it.
Yeah, like 100 feet to our left was that road.
Yeah. So and the other piece of it was as right where we needed to make a left, 2 other vehicles were coming the opposite direction, and they kind of stopped right where I needed to go. So I went.
Oh, that's right.
I went around.
So we had to go around those.
I went around them, and then I found the track leading to where we needed to go, and I said, "Okay, everybody, this is it. Follow me." And
look,
somehow,
this is also. I'll explain. I'll explain what happened. So we start going. We follow you essentially, but you're kind of gone. I don't know.
Yeah,
because we all had to turn around right there again, and then find that entryway, and then. Again, you're out of sight. I don't even know where you're at.
Which I don't understand because everybody was.
I was in the back.
Everybody was 10 feet behind me.
We start going, and then Joe K gets on the radio and goes, "Turn right here. Turn right here."
Yeah.
And Matt, you're going the wrong way. And I was heading where you were. I was actually heading the right way.
I was so
because
confused.
in my head, I remember you showing on the map like, "Oh, here's another turnout." Or a potential campsite that we're going to go by. So it was perpendicular to the Mojave Trail.
Yes.
So I knew like it's going to be up here.
Yeah.
And so Joe K's like, nope, you're going the wrong way. So we start driving down that road and
hold on. But I met up with Cody. Like I parked, I stopped so everyone could see me and everyone can be like, okay, just follow this road. Like just go that way. But for some reason, like there was like a little ridge that you couldn't see. So I, crawled over and I started honking and high beaming when everyone started following you, Matt. And that's when I drove over to you. I'm like, dude, Cody and the rest of them went this way. And Joe's like, no. We have to follow the blue trail.
Yes.
He's like, bro, but they went
following
back.
Your itinerary.
Well,
the itinerary of confusion.
He said,
I get it. But I was like, but Joe, they all went this way. Like, just follow me. He's like, no.
I'm following the blue line, bro.
I was like, fine, whatever, dude. Let's go.
So I'm like, where the hell? How we
went pretty far, dude.
We were 200 yards away from where I last saw you. Like you could see the smoke where you were. Yeah. And I'm like, how are they not here yet? And there's all this chatter on the radio about which way to go. So I turn around, I haul ass down the graded road to find you guys, and I find you like 4 miles in the wrong
No,
direction.
you find us all in different stages of turning or what to do.
What the
I was like perpendicular to the road.
So back to I did not, the only U-turn I made was to go get you guys. So I'm not taking credit for a U-turn on my count. That's not my U-turn.
That one doesn't count as a U-turn for you.
So
That one doesn't.
So we
Yes, it does, because when he came and got me, he had to turn around. That was a U-turn.
No, but
I just don't understand how Joe was like, no, they went, it's this way. I'm like, but I saw them drive this way. Like I saw Cody like, all right, just tell everybody else like we're going this way.
With the way he was talking about the blue line, he's like, "Are you on the blue line?" And I was like, "Yeah, on my map, day 1 is a blue line." I don't know.
Oh my God.
I don't know what color it is on your map, but on my map, day 1's a blue line. So we make our way to what I think was the coolest campsite we've been at so far.
That's probably the go-to site now for day 1.
I don't know that
going forward.
We'll talk about that. We'll talk about that. It was a bitchin' site, and I'm not going to put it up on the screen specifically because it's way out of the way. It is not something that you would think of as a campsite, and you wouldn't if you were on the Mojave Trail. It's a couple miles off the trail.
Yeah, you won't. There's no way you could see it from the main trail.
But it was wide open and plenty of flat spots for people to camp in.
I mean, there was 12 rigs, and we fit perfectly in there.
Yeah, we were all spread out.
Unlimited firewood.
In years past, when we've camped the first night at Mid Hill, the wind always kicks up. And I was telling everybody that night, I'm like, look, it's breezy now. It's going to get windy when the sun comes down. It's going to die. And then right about 1 o'clock in the morning, you're going to wake up because your tent is sliding across the Mojave Desert. That's what happens every single year. Be prepared to sleep in your truck. And it didn't. It was beautiful. It was cold, way colder than I thought it was going to be, but it was beautiful.
I thought the temp was perfect.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah, I didn't bring a warm enough jacket for night 1 because I didn't realize how much elevation we had gained. We were like at 5,000 feet that night.
I didn't realize we were that high up, dude.
Yeah, but other than being a little bit chilly, once I got in the tent in my sleeping bag, I was fine. That camp was great, and we got to camp early enough to where everybody got a chance to set up in the daylight, and we made a fire, and everybody got to barbecue or cook and make food. This was the first big camping trip that Presley has been on, and I loved the fact that every single cousin she has was on that trip. Matt's 2 boys, Casey's boy, and my brother-in-law, Jason, his 2 kids. So she was camping. And I think at this point, Presley thinks Justin is her cousin because they hang out so much. But she was running around and playing with the boys, and they were having a good time. And my niece, who's 17 now, and her and my nephew and their 2 friends were there, and they were so great with Presley, and they were playing with her and letting her hang out, and all the kids. They were playing with all the kids. They did such a good job. And it just seemed like night 1 was just one of those, like, it felt like one of those family memories for me. Like I loved that campsite.
Yeah, it was definitely a lot of fun. It was very family oriented. The kids were great. The kids really were great all weekend. Mm-hmm. I mean, think about it. There's no fighting. There wasn't any bad behavior or, throwing rocks at cars or any, with my kids, you never know. Like,
yeah,
they're throwing rocks at shit.
They're on the razor's edge at all time, huh?
Yeah. No, it was great.
Yeah. So we'll get to night 2 though. So night 1, everything went well. I felt like day 1 was a success, and we woke up in the morning. The one thing I will say that I did not, or that the takeaway for me on this trip was, I need to find a better way, more convenient way, an easier way to set up, break down, cook the whole thing. I mean, each day.
Jose was killing you yesterday. He was like, it looked like Bass Pro Shop just puked over there. Just all your stuff laid out. I couldn't believe how much shit you put on that truck, dude. Like, you don't do you have to have everything?
I
mean, it's great for me. Like,
I was gonna say.
probably have it. Just less stuff I have to load on my truck.
Yeah, don't get it wrong, Cody. We both benefit from you.
Yes.
and all that shit.
But dude, there is a lot. You put a lot of shit on your truck.
I did.
I mean,
I put a lot on the truck, and I like it was like an hour process to get set up, and then another hour process to break down each time we camped. And the tarp, the floor tent, the air mattress. Oh, by the way, so we last minute we tried an older air mattress that we had, and I wasn't confident that it was going to work. So I quickly ordered on Amazon a king size mattress because I knew it would fit dimensionally, and I wanted a thicker one. So this is a king size air mattress with its own pump that's 18 inches tall.
Good Lord!
So I blew it up Thursday night or something, and Tammy was like, "It's not going to fit in the tent. It's not going to fit in the tent." So I brought the tent in the house, opened it up, put the air mattress in there, blew it up. It fits, but it takes
but when you
every
down, your nose is touching the roof of the tent.
There's you can't walk around the tent. You can't put duffel bags in the tent. It fits in the tent, but that's the only thing that fits in the tent. And so it was so bad that when
you're getting an MRI, dude.
When I aired down the mattress, I was like, I'm just leaving it in here. And I left the air mattress flat in the bottom of the tent and folded the tent with the air mattress in it and dropped it in a crate. And was like, that's it. So I didn't have to try to figure out how to get the tent and the air mattress to screw it. It's all going in one spot. But clearly I need either a smaller mattress or a larger tent. But yeah,
dude, I bought a new tent for the trip as well. No zipper issues, that's right. Shocking. And the tent I got sets up in 1 minute, like literally 1 minute. It just you pull the poles until they click, and then you just spread it out. It just pops right up, and it goes back down equally quick.
Really?
So I'm really happy with this thing.
Yeah, it's a cool tent.
Yeah, Jose, we pull up the campsite day one. Jose pulls the spare tire out of the back of his truck. 2 crates
And
out of the
he's
back of his truck, and he sits down on his lawn chair, sipping something to drink, watching the rest of us completely.
Oh yeah,
Yep.
Everyone was like, at least I was there sitting there for a good 30 minutes watching you like sweat and struggle.
I was
unload. I didn't even offer to help you, but whatever.
Oh man, yeah, it was a cluster mess. So, but it was comfortable. Like when it was all said and done, I have a tarp that's like twice the size of my tent. So I laid the tarp down, the tent went on the tarp, and then there was a big tarp area outside the tent.
Yeah, like a living room area.
And then I have a table that I set next to my tailgate. So I had my grill and my stove up ready to go. I did have a Dometic fridge, which we will talk about at some point, maybe at the end. So night one, I think was a success. In years past, and Matt and I talked about this a little bit, in years past where we've done trips with some groups where it's like, okay, guys, we all want to get out of here at a decent time. Let's try to be packed up and ready to go 9:30. And people are partying until 3:00 in the morning, still hungover, waking up. Nobody's even out of their tent until 11. And you're like, this day is shot. Like the whole day is shot. That did not happen with this group. This group was up. Coffee was made. Tents were down. We were literally on the trail at 9:30, just like we said, somewhere between 9 and 9:30. Yeah. And everybody was just on it. So to everybody that participated, you guys rocked. It was great. Day 2. So going back to
that's like so in the past, like when you're the guy that's like, all right, I'm all packed up, because usually I could be one of those late people, or I have been in the past, but I'm also like Jose. It's just me and a sleeping bag. Half the time I sleep in my truck or whatever I'm wheeling in anyhow. But when you're ready to go, and then you're sitting there and you're just waiting like this MFer, dude, hurry up and get your shit together. Like the whole camp is waiting.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And you're like cursing that guy out, It's usually the same one or two people, but but yeah, so it was nice. Like everybody was
podcast.
Everybody was ready to go, very timely, and I appreciate that. Like if you're mindful of other people's time, you know.
Well, I felt like everybody in the group was like that. In this group,
Exactly.
everybody was appreciative of everybody else. Everybody got along. Everybody had a good time. There was no like, oh, we got to make sure this guy's okay or that, you know, everybody, it was just super easy. The group was super easy. Going back, Jose, you talked about how that campsite is the go-to campsite now. I would agree with that. But on the way home, Tammy and I were talking about how on day one, it was 34 miles of dirt. And day two was 65 miles of dirt.
Yeah, it was a lot of driving the second day.
And always, whenever you cross Kelbaker Road and you get into that, the wash and the whoop-de-doos and all that stuff, that's the longest part of the trip. That's the least fun part of the trip is that long whoop-de-doo section up into Marl Springs. And I think that if we do this again with the 2 nights camping, we need to push.
And right after that, like do that first day, get that out of the way the first day.
That's what I was just going to say. We push a little bit further, maybe not even, we don't have to get that far, but if we pushed another 20 miles further and reduced the day 2 travel miles from 65 down to 45, I think it would make it better. Because like, for example, Presley had a meltdown the night of day 2, night 2, partially because I think she was completely exhausted. She was on the trail for a long time. She didn't really get to take a nap. There was some prickly bushes that she got in her hand. But I think 65 miles in that one day was just too much for her.
It was. It's a lot. It's a lot for anybody.
Yeah, it was. I think we need to push past Rock Springs, maybe even past Government Holes. And I've been looking at it today. I found a spot right before the Kelso Sema cross where the whoops and stuff start. We could camp there, and then we would wake up and hit that whoop section early, get it out of our system.
Just get it out of the way. Yeah, just get it out of the way.
So I think that's going to be the plan for next time, so that we reduce day 2 miles down to 45, 50 miles. So
I totally agree with that. For next time, we can try that.
Yeah, there's the Hanta house. We just we live in the let's refurbish the Hanta house, and we'll pick our rooms. Like, ooh, this is my room.
Everybody puts a respirator on before they go in a bunny suit, one of those containment suits.
I already have a CPAP anyhow, so that's pretty much the same thing.
Yeah, Darth Vader's already on the trip.
So day 2, we leave the campsite, and the first thing we hit is what we call the difficult section, and it's difficult based on your definition of difficult, but it's a pretty decent decline.
You got to have somebody give you a line.
Yeah,
I mean, I'd say that's difficult.
It's a decent decline with a lot of ruts, and so we stopped there and said, okay, here's going to be the difficult section. Anybody that wants to go around can go around. So some of the group went around on the graded road to Rock Springs, and some of us came down.
So this is just really quick. The first time I did Mojave, when in the brand new Renegade, we were going the other direction. Cody, you went ahead and saw this in your WJ, right?
Yep.
Isn't that what you had at the time?
Yep.
And you said, like, I don't think we may not want to do this. This is going to be really rough. And you're looking at me in the stock Renegade like this might be rough here. And we went around. And we went a completely different way. That was a 2 or 3 hour detour.
Yeah, we hosed it that year. We completely there's a 5 mile detour, and somehow we ended up taking 2 hours to get back to the trail. We completely hosed it that year. On this one though, so I went down, got to this section. I said, "Yep, I'm going to do it in the Ranger." So I did it in the Ranger. Dave did it in the ZR2. Joey D did it in his Wrangler. Jose did it. Matt did it. Susan did it in the stock Sahara. Kudos to Susan. She did it. She handled it like a champ. Crystal did it in her stock JL Wrangler. Kudos to Crystal. She did great all weekend long, like all weekend, like a champ. Kept up with the group, over everything we took. I mean, everybody did. And Cammie, my niece's friend who had the 4Runner, had gone around with the group on the bypass, saw the obstacle, and went back around because she wanted to do it. And she was awesome. She's like handling it. And it's so funny. So, I had never met her and the friends that were with my niece and nephew. And so I'm trying to be like the nice old dad, uncle guy. And I'm like, hey, 4-wheel drive, this is what you got to do, blah, blah, blah. And I was talking to my brother-in-law. He's like, oh, yeah, her brother's a professional motocross racer. They've been off-roading and stuff their entire lives. And I'm like, well, that would have been nice to know. Now I sound like a jerk trying to talk down to her. Like, I thought I was being helpful.
Put the shifter in N1 or an L.
Yes. I'm trying to be helpful here. She thinks I'm a jerk.
4L.
Yeah. But she did it. And then just to prove points, Dave and Joey D and you, Jose and Matt, all turned around and went back up at the opposite direction. And as Joey D was going up, I've got video of me flipping him off the entire way because he was just like, Casey was like, I think you did that in 2-wheel drive. He just crawled up the thing in 2-wheel drive with that Jeep. But it was a very cool, like it was a cool experience for me because we've done that in years past where there have been people that were just like panicked, like I'm not going to do this, we're not doing it. Okay, fine, we'll go around. We're not going to push anybody to do anything. I was really proud to see so many of the group go, yep, we're going to give that a shot. We're going to give that a shot. And kudos to my brother. He spotted everybody up and down that trail, and he's a great spotter.
Yeah, perfect lines.
Yeah, every time. Everybody listened. That was a really fun part of the trip, and we ended up spending 45 minutes there. I mean,
yeah, we're
an
hour.
We were there for way longer than I expected, and then we went right to Rock Springs, which is a pretty cool spot. I want to do some.
I'm not walking back there anymore. This is officially like I know.
Yes,
we're gonna stop there because it's a point of interest. I'm not walking back to that thing anymore. Like I've seen it. There's never any water in there.
Well,
like it's
I keep hoping.
Gross.
I keep hoping because I was telling the story that
that's how they get you.
Yeah, in years past, there's actually been water here, like ponds of water with water, running off the rocks,
trickling down.
Yes, it was
No,
beautiful. And it's just the last 2 years, there's been nothing. It's been absolutely dry, and I don't know if that means that there's still great greenery there. There's still puddles of water swarming with bees, but I don't know what that means. Is the spring dried up? Is it because of the weather? I don't know, but I keep hoping that we go back there and those pools of water are back, and I just don't think that's ever going to happen again.
No, we're just going to send like one of the kids, like run up there and see if there's water. And then, nope. All right, come on back. We're out of here.
Yeah. So we did that, the obligatory Rock Springs, everybody walked around. Then we made it to government. There's giant turds. There was giant turds there. Yep. That's another thing.
Last year there's way more turds than there were this year.
Yes. Yes. Not as many pies. We went to government holes. There was a group. There was a group of Jeeps, 4 or 5 Jeeps. That
it was like a 4 or 5. It was like a 4 or 5 convoy.
Yeah. And it was funny, like in years past, this has happened where there's a group and you're leapfrogging each other. Like one goes in front of the other and then goes in front of the other.
Yeah.
And we kind of did that with them for a while. Went through government holes to what was the next stop? The
mailbox.
Yep. Crossed the Kelso Sema Road. And then this is where the long whoopee section is until you get to Marl Springs. And that stretch.
It sucks.
Yeah. What'd you say?
I said that section sucks.
Yeah, that from the Kelso part to Marl Springs, which is approximately 8 miles. It is 8 miles of 10 mile an hour whoops. That's all it is, and there's no other route. Tammy kept saying, "Isn't there another way we can go?" And I'm like, if there is, I've not seen it on a map ever. I guess we could have come down Kelso Sema Road, and there's another trail here that. A utility line road that comes up and be matter of fact, now I'm looking at it, guys. If we went down Kelso Sema Road, there's a like power line road, a graded road that bypasses all that. And then we can make a right and get up to Marl Springs in probably a fraction of the time.
Well, we'll do that next year.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Cause there's nothing to see there.
No.
It is supremely boring and tedious, and all I think about is I wish I was on my bike because I would just be done. I would just kill this and just be done with it, and then it makes me sad because I'm not on my bike. So it's like double. It's like double bad. It's double bad.
double good. So yeah, there does look like there's an alternate bypass. It's off of the quote Mojave Trail, but I think we've done the Mojave Trail enough times to earn it. Like
Nope. Nope. We don't need that.
Don't care. So I'm actually making
either that or we ran a grader or something and we just flatten that thing. We spend a weekend just dragging that portion of the trail and just make it flat somehow,
I just
That's it.
added it to the map so that we can remember it for next year.
What color are you going to use as far as the highlight?
Orange. It's orange right now. It's an orange route.
You're going to make it orange. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, is there like a correlation? Like, can we get a legend that says if it's orange, this is we've never done it. This is a proposed, maybe that's what you could call it, like a proposed route change or something. Yeah. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm sure you've already thought of that. You probably already have it printed somewhere. It's printing right now.
So Marl Springs, and then we go to
the over behind them that says proposed routes.
Screw you both. The Mojave mailbox. I was disappointed a little bit at the mailbox. There's been some controversy.
They cleaned it out.
They cleaned up the mailbox. So the mailbox is still there. And we have a couple stickers there now. There were some before. I'm sure they got covered up.
Shrines. They got rid of all that stuff.
Yeah, dude. There was the street sign, the Mojave Trail street sign. That street sign is gone. And
it's gone. Yeah.
Then there used to be a bunch of shrines: the Garden Gnome Shrine, the Frog Shrine, the Tonka Truck Shrine, Star Wars shrines.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, but yeah, I do agree it had gotten a little bit out of hand as far as like people leaving toys in the desert, and I can see that creating some issues. And wind blows, and they all go over the desert and what have you.
It's trash. I mean,
yeah, it is.
It is.
It's now down to just a small frog shrine and a small gnome shrine, and that's it. That's it. Everything else is gone. Last year,
well, I was, that's something I've told the kids about. You have like little kids, right? And so, Dad, how was the trip? This is the first time they went, and you tell them about stuff. Oh yeah, there's this like shrine, and people leave like toys, and there's Tonka Truck one, there's Hot Wheels. So they were looking forward to it, and they brought Michael brought an action figure, and Johnny brought like a Hot Wheels car. They wanted to contribute, and again, it's one of those things like, oh, I wonder if my Hot Wheel car is still there, so you come back a year or two later and it's like, oh, there it is, Yeah. I don't know. It seems kind of lame or whatever, but for that stuff not to be there, it was kind of a little disappointing, I guess.
Yeah. And last year, Rob Flores had left a Tonka truck with a Trailchaser sticker on there, gone.
That's right.
So that, I mean, I get it. They're trying to clean up, and it is what it is, but stopped at the Mojave mailbox. We skipped Tank 6 Corral. Now you had said you wanted to try the lava tubes. It was closed. That the site says it's officially closed, and it's like 10 miles away from the Mojave.
I know, but that's another that's the coolest thing on the trip. I mean, walking down the tubes. And how do you close a hole in the ground? Did they fill it with dirt?
I don't know, but my concern was 12 vehicles going like 5 miles, having a ranger
having to turn around.
Yeah, having
somehow.
A ranger poached up there and having to turn around. Like to me, it wasn't. I definitely want to do it. I definitely think it's something everybody should see when they do this trip. But it wasn't worth the and think about how much. I mean, by the time if we had done that, we would have gotten to camp day 2 late because we ended up skipping some stuff on day 2. We skipped the Tank 6 Corral. We got to Kelbaker Road, and a portion of the group split off. So when we got to Kelbaker Road, my brother-in-law, Jason, and his wife, and my niece and her friends, and Donato all jumped on the road and headed out and went home. From Kelbaker, you can go north right up to the 15 freeway and catch the freeway home. So
that's because Donato left he didn't bring a CPAP, and I said, dude. He tried sleeping the night before and he was like, it was miserable. I'm not doing it. I said, dude, that happened to me New Year's. I'm not screwing around. It's like miserable. Imagine trying to go to sleep and somebody's like holding your nose, like, and preventing you from breathing. Or, you wake up every 5 minutes, like panic because you can't breathe. That's what it's like. It's miserable. So I totally get him leaving. But it was funny in the morning that earlier that morning, I heard him like sawing logs. Like he was like two tents over. And I thought, you go camping enough, you ride dirt bikes enough. It sounded like a 4-stroke, like a mile away, like, and I was joking around with them. I'm like, is that somebody snoring or was somebody out early riding somewhere? And I'm all, that guy's got a shift. He better shift. Oh no, that's Donato. Yeah, he didn't have a CPAP, so
That's funny.
poor guy.
And then right before we get there, so the section from there's this wash section after Tank 6 Corral. Jose gets on the radio and he's like, and now it begins. And I'm like, what are you talking about? You're like, Matt's going to start his shit, and then Cody's going to start his shit, and then Joe's going to try to keep up. So there's from that point across Kelbaker all the way around 17 Mile Point is sandy, wash, pretty wide open, and the parts that aren't wide open are like perfectly routed for 2-track vehicles just going through. And that's where Renegade Highway is, Matt. We've talked about.
That is the Renegade Highway. We didn't pick our spot where we're going to put
no,
the
because
sign
we'll
next
get to
year
that.
either.
We'll get to that. So we go, and at that point, Presley was in the car with my brother-in-law, and so I jumped up on the Ranger, and I was doing 65 through the desert on sand. and kudos to my wife. I knew she was a little bit stressed, and I felt like I could have pushed further because the suspension, the tires, the turbo, everything was just dialed in, and it was like a nice cush ride. And I was like, yeah, this is. And I'm looking over at her like waiting to get the smack in the face from her left hand, and but you could really open up in that section, and I felt like the Ranger did a good job. And if Presley was in the car, I wouldn't have done it. But we got to that point, and you were pretty far behind me, Matt, right? I mean, did you get the chance to open it up at that section at all?
Not really. I mean, I was in the back of the pack. This is before we got to the road, right?
Yeah.
You're talking about that section.
Yeah. So then when we got to the road, half the group, 3 or 4 cars left, and then the section after the road, crossing over the road to up and around the mountain, is like the wide open Renegade Highway place. And at this point, Presley was super fussy, so she was in the truck with us, and she was like trying to pass out. So I had to bow out of the competition and like kind of cruise, and then Matt just took off.
Matt and Joey D took off. Dude.
Joey D took off. Joe Pacinelli was going to try to keep up. I think he was getting smacked in the face by his passenger.
Yeah, he did not pursue.
And then you at some point, Jose.
Thank God.
At some point,
This would have been bad.
Jose was like, "Screw this! I'm done being in the back. I've got my Icon suspension and I got my gears, and you took off, man. I was so proud of you."
I didn't say anything. I just I just passed the group. I wanted to see your face when you saw me on your left.
At one point, I look over. And I'm like, "Who gave you permission to leave the back of the group? I don't understand." And Jose takes off in the cruiser. And how did it do?
I did awesome, dude. I was telling Matt, I'm like, dude, I was running you guys down because you guys had a good start on me.
You were doing. I'm really impressed with how well that thing performed.
I had to stop twice to pick up the debris.
Yes, so that's the other part.
I went 4 wheels off the ground.
So did I, dude. So did I.
Matt lost. First of all, Matt lost. What'd you say? The top of your Tupperware container was gone. You said the container is completely shredded. And it exploded. At one point, I come up on the trail, and there's a 6-pack of toilet paper in front of me. And Matt's like, yeah, that's mine. It flew out of the back of my truck. There was 3 of you in that truck. Why did you need 6 rolls of toilet paper? That's 2 rolls of toilet paper per person for a 2-day trip.
Hey, that's like gold out there, bro.
That's right. You never know if... what if we found Thunderdome and then that's like gold, that's like a monetary, that is like money, so maybe I could trade for position. of prominence in Thunderdome. That was the idea.
How did Matt become the general of the Thunderdome? He had a lot of toilet paper.
He had a lot of TV with him. He came out. He was smart.
So that section up and around what they call 17 Mile Point, and then we get to there's a turnoff for Paymaster Mine and Bennigan Mine, and I've always put these on the trip map every year, and every year at that point we pass it because going back to what we were saying earlier, we just spent 2 hours trying to get off the whoop-de-doos, and we finally make that turn around the mountain to a decent trail where you can open up, and nobody wants to stop at that point. At that point,
no,
everybody was ready to go, so we skipped those and went through the Baker Flush. Right,
that's right.
That's what you call it. Not the Barstow Wash. It's the Baker Flush, which is the big salt
like
flat
lake bed or salt bed, whatever it is.
Yeah, to Traveler's Monument, which we done.
And you know what it is? The grossest lake bed that I've ever seen. I take that back. Salton Sea's pretty disgusting too, but like it's grody looking. You know, like it's not like super flat. You know, you're used to lake beds being hard pack and kind of flat and clean.
It's rutted out. It's it's a mess.
It's funky. I think we talked about it in the past where Matt says it's like all the toilets flush in Baker and it just runs down into the desert.
It just runs off. Exactly.
So we get to Traveler's Monument, throw our rocks there. Joe P has a theory, has a conspiracy theory about Traveler's Monument. He's like, we've been here how many years? Everybody's put rocks on here every year, and the pile's not any bigger than it ever was. Do you guys agree?
It's true. True statement, dude. It does not look any bigger than it did, last year. And how many people have gone through there? How many people go through every year, dude?
Yeah, I don't know. This is the first time, only the second time that I've brought rocks, and I've done the trail 4 or 5 times now. I don't think you bring a rock every time.
And that it's a
where do they go? What's the theory? Like,
I wonder if people pick them up.
Why?
Instead of a conspiracy, I wonder if people just drive by and go, "Oh, I'm going to collect a rock from here."
Maybe. You know what?
So for every rock that gets dropped, there's another yahoo that picks it up.
Johnny was gonna jack one. I'm all, put that rock back. What are you doing?
That's the Peter Brady curse, man. You don't take a rock from Traveler's Monument.
No. Oh no, that's woo.
Somewhere in the pile is a rock that Presley painted the year before, and we put out there, and we couldn't find it.
No, we couldn't find any of our painted rocks either.
Yeah. So we did that, and then we went down to Matt's campsite at Razor Road, and
I also got stuck. Remember, Jose had to save me.
That's right. So on our way down, thank you for reminding me. So on our way down.
Jose, who Johnny on the spot, I was stuck for 30 seconds, maybe.
I know. I was
long
pissed
enough
off
for
at
you to run out and just start taking video. Jose's helping me.
No, I was pissed off at Jose.
Video.
I was pissed off at Jose. We come up onto this. It was a minor dune. It was a minor sand dune, but you could see it was soft, and you could see there were some tracks that went this way, like straight perpendicular up the face of it, and then there was a path that went to the right, so you could come around and crest over like a normal human being. And so I got on the radio and I said, "Hey, there's a sand dune. Get into the throttle and take it at an angle like I'm going." And I went up and over, no problem. And all of a sudden, I hear someone on the radio say, "Matt's stuck," and I'm out there, and I had to stop and turn around, and I'm yelling at Jose, hold on. By the time I get there, Jose's got him hooked up and ready to pull out. Like, we did not, there was an opportunity to make fun of Matt for a good 15 minutes, and you blew it, dude. You absolutely blew it. I got 30 seconds of video out of that.
I'm sorry. I'll wait longer next time.
Yes, we have to ridicule him. So we got over that.
You don't have to. And I just want to say, that was the only time I had been in 4-wheel drive the whole time was just that ridge that we climbed, earlier in the day near Rock Springs. It's funner to be in 2-wheel drive with the traction control off and just screw around, and do burnouts and whatever. So I just thought, I'll get right over this thing. And I didn't hit it with any momentum at all. And I pretty much nailed it straight on. So it was just dumb, Anywho,
so then we go through what was some pretty cool little I don't know, twisties trying to get to where we were supposed to be, and found ourselves at the camp that Matt had picked out for night 2. This is a campsite he's used in the past. And dude, that's a great spot. That was a great spot. That was a great campsite, man. Kudos to you.
Yeah, that's my friends and family. I've been going there for, honestly, since the 70s, like for decades, that same campsite.
Really?
So
all the broken glass.
It's because it's that good.
All the broken glass I was picking up, all that stuff. That was your family.
You guys?
Yes. Pretty much.
But part of the reason we stopped there is it's like a quarter mile away from the Punch Bowl or the Sand Bowl, depending on which article on Wikipedia you read. And we set up camp, we dropped everything, lightened up the vehicles, and then most of us headed over to the Sand Bowl. And we've talked about this in the past. We did it last year. It's a sandy dune area that's got it's basically a big half pipe for trucks.
Yeah, I was about to say, I'm like, it's a giant sand half pipe for trucks.
And it's really, really cool. It's a lot of fun. And Tammy and Joe Pacinelli's wife were both like, I don't know if we're gonna do this. And I had Presley with me, and Tammy was like, I don't know if I want Presley. And so we get down there. I'm like, you guys have to at least come. I'll bring some chairs. You can hang out while we're driving around. And we get to the ridge. We follow everybody to the ridge. And Matt might have been the first one down in the bowl. And
you were the first one.
No, I was not the first one, because Presley was like, I said something about going down in there. And she's like, oh, look are we going to go down there? I want to go down in there. That looks like fun. And I was like, yes. And I'm like, this is my whole, the last 5 years of Presley being alive. Like, yes, this is it. This is the moment. And Tammy looks at me because she knew that she wasn't, she looked at me and she's like, you're really happy right now, aren't you? And I'm like, yes, I am so happy. So I don't even hesitate. And I crest the ridge and I start to go down, and Presley's like, this is fun. And then I punch it and get up the wall of the other side and start coming in at an angle. And she's like, Presley says, I think I might have been wrong. I want to go back. So we tooled around and we went back up to the ridge and stopped. And I let the girls out and set up some chairs for them to hang out. And then we all started playing in the sand. And, I went in there. Matt went in there. Patrick went in there. Yep. So a bunch of us went in there and play.
Yeah, everyone went in there.
Yeah.
Or the group that went.
Yeah.
Mostly.
And then Justin jumped in the truck with me, and I was bombing the thing. I was four-wheel drive, sand mode, just having a blast. And then Jose had made the suggestion that it might be better in two-wheel drive. So I shifted into two-wheel drive to try it. And in all honesty, no, it was not. I did not like it as much in two-wheel drive because it didn't have the bite. Matt, you had talked about that too. You don't have the grip. You can't make the turns. It didn't pull as hard. I mean, I was able to do it.
There's so much load and drag going through that sand that you don't have. You either got to have something with like 1,000 horsepower so you could break the rear end loose, because you're not able to really do that in two-wheel drive and kind of drift the corners or whip the rear end around. So it's better to have that four-wheel control and at least that bite, that bite to get you up and through stuff. But that was very strange. Like, there was a couple spots, I'm foot to the floor, and the truck's like, I don't want any of this. Like, this is
not like that. It was really hot.
Yeah, it was
like 90 something degrees.
Yeah, 95 degrees. And when I was in two-wheel drive trying it, I'd already done it for a while in four-wheel drive, and I was trying it in two-wheel drive, and I dropped in, mashed my foot to the floor, and did not take my foot off at all. And you could hear the thing revving up, and it was going, and we're bombing it. Justin and I are bombing it. All of a sudden, bing, 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 bing. Like, it was like I was a winner in Vegas. Like, I started getting alarms. It said brake system failure. It said advanced track failure. Check transmit. Like, I got every alarm. Parking assist failure. Every alarm you can imagine on that truck just blew up. Just like all the alarms went off. So I got to the top, stopped, and I'm like, what brake? I'd hit the front left pretty hard one time and kind of bottomed out, and I thought maybe I busted a brake line. No brake fluid leaking, nothing leaking underneath the truck. I opened the hood, checked the brake reservoir, nothing leaking out of there.
It was, and you couldn't.
And it didn't appear to be that anything was wrong, and the truck would not shift into 4-wheel drive after that. And I'm like, and so two things went through my mind as this was happening. As we were dropping in to the bowl with Tammy and Presley, I guaranteed Tammy with 100% certainty that nothing would go wrong. There's absolutely nothing that will go wrong. I promise you. And I'm thinking to myself, how much is it going to cost to fix this truck? so that's the first thing. The first thing is this is going to come back and bite me. The second thing was, please, God, don't let me break this truck, because I will never hear the end of it from these two and everybody that listens to this show.
I was just going to say, like, I'm not even really that shocked. I mean, it's a Ford. You just kind of expect stuff like this to happen, you know? Yeah. It's like Jeeps and water.
Yes,
you know?
Yes.
Fords are just going to break down on you when you don't want it to, you know?
So we all of us jumped on this thing. Jose was in there elbow deep. Like, I got pictures of it. All of us, we're going through fuses. We're reading the manual, trying to figure out how to reset this stuff. Jose has the idea.
For you Ranger guys out there, your truck has 4 fuse boxes,
yes,
by the way.
There are 4. There's a pre-fuse and 3 fuse boxes in that truck. And we're going through it, and I'm like, where the hell is, I don't understand. So we disconnected the negative on the battery, tried to reset it, disconnected it again, let it set for a while, didn't work.
I had only disconnected it for like a minute or two. Yeah. I didn't really disconnect it for very long.
There's got to be some, was it non-volatile RAM? There's got to be a battery in there that will remember when the battery's getting changed out.
It saves all the settings and stuff. As I was thinking about that as we were driving back to camp, like, I bet you there's a battery that's there for like maybe 10 minutes or whatever.
So we just kind of gave up. We had tried as much as we possibly could. I still had 2-wheel drive.
We had code readers. Like, we hooked up OBD2s, and there's no codes or nothing.
Joey D had the full-on, like, ultimate OBD2.
I had one. I have the basic one that, like, you plug in and it gives you a code.
Yeah, and you don't even have OBD2 in your truck.
And I don't even have OBD2 in my truck. but Joey's like, oh, I got a code reader too. Give me a second. And he pulls out this laptop. It looked like a laptop.
Yeah. It's like a military. Interface. You need a military approval to use it. But there was no. That was the other thing is there's all these alarms and zero codes on OBD2. Yeah. So I didn't panic. I was like, it's got to be something electrical. It's got to be a plug that jiggled loose, or it's. I think Jose, you were the one that was saying that it was hot.
I just think it was just hot, dude. It was just it's a way of telling you, like, please stop hurting me.
The engine temp was fine, but Casey made the point that the engine temp is not an indication of the transmission, of the transfer case, of the turbo.
The temp is one thing, but so intake, temp, all that stuff, dude.
So we. From there, this is another thing I want to talk to you about, Matt. So we're at the Punch Bowl. This is your campsite and your playground. You've been there. How many years in a row? And I was like, all right, dude, look, I'm going to let you lead back to camp because I only have 2-wheel drive and I don't want to have to scout and try to worry about 2-wheel drive. And you went, yeah, I don't know, man.
Yeah, dude, I am notorious for going right past camp. So normally, it's probably 50-50 like that. I'll blow because if you remember, camp is like tucked in those little hills, you know. So if you don't run right into it, you'll go right past it like easy.
It's easy to pass that little cove that we were in.
Exactly. And so yes, on my bike, I'm going so fast through there. I pretty much expect there's those trees that we came through like before we got to the camp. Like I run into those trees every time, and I know it's a hard left.
Yeah,
hard left from there, and I know where I'm at. But so I was like, yeah, dude,
So I've got,
I have this is in my truck, so at least I see the pin like on my phone. Like, oh, we'll probably find it, but you went right there. So
so I just
you had it.
I led in 2-wheel drive. I did not get stuck on the same ridge that Matt got stuck on in 2-wheel drive. And
you didn't go. That was
I
a
know,
different ridge.
You're right.
We didn't get there.
You're right. But I will tell you, the drive back to camp, I think I made the comment on the radio. This is
You're like, I have no turbo.
yeah,
like,
this
no
is what a
boost.
4-cylinder
You're
feels
building-
like with no turbo. Like there was a couple spots, like, you drop down. Sometimes you come off of a ridge, you drop down, and then there's a gradual decline back up. And on that incline back up, I'm to the floor. And it's like you said, like a 4-stroke, like dug, 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 trying to get back up. I was like, I'm going to bog down right now. And then I had crest over. I'm like, okay, keep my momentum up. And I was like, so 4-cylinder with no turbo, maybe not so good. We got back to camp, and I disconnected the positive and negative battery cable for a good hour,
like
2 hours.
dude.
Yeah. While we set up camp, I mean, it set up to cook and got everything ready to go. I figured the good thing about that campsite that Matt had at it for us, we were 7 miles away from the freeway. And from the camp, it was essentially dirt road all the way back.
Yeah.
You didn't need 4-wheel drive. So I knew as long as I had 2-wheel drive, even without the turbo, I knew I would get to the freeway and make it home. And I'm thinking, okay, tomorrow, Tuesday, I'll drop it off at the Ford dealership. It's under warranty. We'll figure out what's going on. But after we ate dinner and the truck had set for 2 hours, I reconnected the battery cables, turned it on. Everything was fine. Everything was completely fine. The truck ran great the whole way home. No more alarms, nothing. I think you guys are right. I think the thing just got so hot that it said, look, you're dumb, and I'm not letting you go any further. Like,
Yeah. Please stop. Why are you doing this to me?
Yes.
You already pack like half of Bass Pro Shops and shove it on into, make me haul all this crap around. And now you're going to go foot to the floor in some sand for 20 minutes straight.
Yeah. And I think had I stayed in 4-wheel drive, it probably would not have happened. I think I had to have the revs up so high and working so hard in 2-wheel drive. So lesson there is don't listen to Jose. Second was
It was a bad call, right?
no, but it was. I liked the suggestion. I thought, let's see how it does in 2-wheel drive. Yeah. But I want to see if there's an aftermarket way to monitor trans temp, turbo temp, T-case temp, that kind of stuff. For that reason,
you can do it with a little Bluetooth that plugs into your OBD2.
You're right, and I have one of those. I have one of those little Bluetooth ones that goes. I can see it on my tablet. Good call, Jose. I think I have one in the garage.
You can just set up whatever monitors or whatever gauges you want on the app if it lets you.
Yep, I've done that. I did that in the Tacoma. I had it because remember I had the Android head unit on the Tacoma. Yeah. I had that app on there, and I would just go over and check it out every once in a while. Good call.
Yep.
So I need to be aware of that, and I've never had a vehicle with a turbo, and I don't know like what happens if you rev them up like that. What do they do? And that's why I'll tell you what they do. They push.
Like they're very finicky with heat soak.
Yeah.
And it was hot, dude, and you're pushing it, dude. Like there's no way to do the punch bowl. It's either on or off, like, and you're on the whole time.
Yeah, it was gnarly.
It's really you gotta maybe do 2 laps and then you come out, let it cool down for about 20 minutes, go turn a couple, 2 laps at a time.
Yeah, that's
you start running through there, running it hard nonstop for like. Dude, when we first got, it was like 15 minutes straight. We were all screwing around in there. Yeah, it's too much. It's really too much.
It was. I pushed the truck. Now I know that if it's hot like that, I gotta be careful. So this morning we woke up, or everybody woke up.
The campfire talk.
Oh,
I don't know how we always get up on these topics, but apparently Jason Priestley had a pretty prominent role in
Hold on. I've got video. I want. Damn it! I should have plugged this into the thing. So I went to bed fairly. So Presley was exhausted. She went to bed early. It caused Tammy to lose her speed, her momentum. She fell asleep pretty early. We were at the campfire for a while, and I decided, okay, I'm going to go to bed early. And a pretty decent sized group stayed up. I think it was the 2 of you, my brother, Joey D was up for a while, Joey P. And at one point, you guys are having an argument and an agreement simultaneously about Mike Trout being the best baseball player in history.
So Matt and Joe P agreed that he's the best baseball player in the MLB, but for different reasons. They were arguing why he's the best player. I was saying you can't have one single player in Major League. You can't say there's a best player in Major League Baseball because there's so many different positions that require a full baseball team.
So then, as you guys are having that conversation and I fall asleep, I woke up at 1 o'clock in the morning to go to the bathroom, and I recorded this. Let's see if you can hear it.
It's 1 o'clock in the morning, and everybody at camp is asleep, except Matt and Jose. And they're at the campfire having a conversation about Jason Priestley's pompadour hair. I don't even know.
You guys were arguing about whether or not it was Jason Priestley or the other guy that had the pompadour.
Dylan.
Yeah, Jose was animate that Jason Priestley brought the pompadour back to popularity, and then Matt was arguing that it wasn't a pompadour at all. And I'm like, what is going on? Why are you still up to have this conversation? It's not like you were solving the world's problems. Why at 1 o'clock in the morning was that the conversation to have? I don't get it.
You don't have to. Why do we have to solve problems at 1 o'clock in the morning? Why can't it just be
That's a valid
about? Exactly. That's what people want to know. They want to know if he brought it back or not.
And then you guys were arguing about who was in what movies and what, and it was Jason Priestley in Tombstone. Is that what was happening?
Yeah, I didn't think he was in that movie, dude. But Matt was like, dude, he had a pretty big role in that movie. I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, everyone else is in that. Like, Bill Paxton had a bigger role than.
That's right. That's right. I heard you talking about Bill Paxton too. I'm like, what the hell is going on out there? I don't understand.
But Matt's right, dude. Jason Priestley was in that movie.
I told you. I tried to tell you.
So that's the kind of campfire stuff. There was way less conspiracy theories.
No conspiracies, really. Yeah.
Way less conspiracy theories and
apparently there were ghosts.
Yeah, we'll have to talk about
there were
the ghosts. We everybody woke up at a decent time again this morning, and we broke down camp again. It took me another hour and a half to break my camp down, as every single one of you in camp was sitting in lawn chairs in a semicircle watching me do it.
Watching you.
And then Matt waited till I was done to then start breaking down his camp. I don't understand why you did that.
I didn't wait till you were done. I just, okay, I got about a half hour, and then that's it. So I timed it right.
It was so hot compared. I mean, it was hot this morning.
Yes. Because, well, like we said, night one, we were 5,000 feet up. It was beautiful, cool. Last night when we got to camp,
like under 1,000, I think it was like 900 or 800 feet or something.
Yeah. When we got to camp last night, it was so hot. Tammy was like, I don't even know how I'm supposed to function right now until the sun goes down. And so
it was so hot.
I was like, you stay in the truck. I'm going to go get Trisha. You guys have happy hour. I'll get everything set up. So the girls sat in the Ranger with the air conditioning on, having happy hour while Joe and I got the camp set up. We left camp. We made it out to Beacon Station. What was
went to a gas station with no gas.
Yeah, you guys went inside, Matt. What happened in there? I couldn't get any gas. I said, screw it. I got enough to get down to the next town. You went inside. Were they out of gas?
I don't know if the pumps were bad or if it seemed like they were just having some kind of issue where they needed to be reset. I don't know. I paid cat and that's the other screwed up thing is it's like pay before you pump. So, all right, I prepaid $40. I'd like $40 on pump 7. You took that money, and then I go out there, and it's like, now the pump's not working. I hope you refund my money. And that's what I was in there. Show me a receipt. How do I know that you didn't just take $40 for nothing?
Oh yeah,
Yeah. So
yeah, because it would only take credit at the pump. It wouldn't take debit. You had to go inside.
Yeah, it wouldn't take debit. You're right. Because I tried using my debit card. It didn't work.
Yeah, but there was 4 of us that tried to get gas and it didn't work, and so we just said screw it, and we went down to Eddie's World. We stopped at Eddie's World.
Oh, that place is great, man.
Yeah,
you drive by that place. I don't know.
Yeah,
how long is it? It's probably been there.
Couple years.
I don't know, 7 or 8 years,
Yeah.
maybe.
Yeah, it was one when I was making my trip to Vegas and back all the time. It was one of my stops. Like if I knew, like if I got to there because it's a giant store with every kind of candy you can imagine, all kinds of toys, all kinds of foods. They have ice cream places in there. They have all. So it was one of those. Like I had a regular path to Vegas when I was making that trip for work, and I knew like okay,
It's like a Buc-ee's.
it was what?
It's like a giant. It's like a Buc-ee's fuel stop.
I don't know what that is.
It's like a giant gas station that has like everything in the store.
Yeah, and when we rolled up, I asked Tammy. I said, "Are we going in?" And she's like, "Do you think that's a good idea?" And I said, "Let's go in. I want to get a snack or something, and I want Presley to go in there." And we went in, and wow, she went nuts, and she ended up getting a little toy. She was a good girl all weekend, and I wanted her to have something like feel like she, I don't know, I'm a sucker. Anyway, she got a little unicorn.
You are a sucker.
Totally sucker.
God.
And then
My kids were like, "Daddy, look at this." Yeah. What about it? Yeah, you can look at it. You ain't getting it.
And then for whatever reason, Casey and Susan did all of their Christmas shopping, and we were all sitting out there waiting for them to finish, and they came out with a giant bag of stuff. We made it down to Barstow. At that point, a couple of the people decided to skip lunch and keep going. But we were starving. We all kind of went through a different drive-through place, jumped back on the road. At that point, it was down to the three of us and Joe K. And made our way down the 15 and just individually split off here and there. And you skipped lunch. That's right, Jose. You skipped lunch.
I skipped lunch. I didn't even stop.
It was me.
I was tired, dude.
Me, Matt, and Jose.
I was tired. Yeah, I just wanted to get home.
Me, Matt, and Joe K made our way down. They split off at their spot. We got home. I knew that if I sat down, I wasn't going back outside. So I backed the truck up and I unloaded everything and threw it in the garage. My garage, there's a pile of dirty crap in my garage that I haven't gone through yet. I don't know when I'm going to go through. Came inside. We jumped in the pool for a while. And then I took a nap. I lay on the couch and all three of us passed out. It was, I was toasted. I was done.
It was a glorious nap.
Yes.
It was one of those you're cleaned up, take a shower, and it's, I have a big ceiling fan that just, it's great, works great. And I just shut it down for about an hour and a half.
Yep.
It was awesome.
Yep. And, my brother, while we were in the pool, my brother called and he's like, "Dude, I got a crazy story." He's like, "We got home." He said the same thing. He said, "I knew if I didn't unload the Jeep, I wouldn't do it." So he said, "I start unloading stuff and I take the ice chest to the back patio." And he's like, "I hear this screech crash." And I look down and a black Ford Ranger, an old Ranger, hit a telephone pole on the road behind their house. And
damn.
And he said he's watching it as the pole starts to lean.
Oh, no way, dude.
And then sparks. He said it was like when Roy Hobbs hit it out of the park in The Natural.
Wow. Oh, wow.
Sparks. And he said a couple more of the telephone poles started pulling. And then, boom, they hit the ground and brush fire in his backyard. He said,
"Wow."
He said it just went up, and he was watching it walk its way up the hill to his house. So he runs in, and he's like, "Susan, we gotta go get the dogs." And they're packing up their stuff. They're calling the fire department, trying to get in the truck and leave. And as they are getting ready to leave, the fire department pulls up, and they run out, and they're putting out the fire and creating a break to keep all of the houses in his neighborhood from going up in flames. And he said he had to give a statement to the police and to the fire guy. And he's like, "Dude, I've been home 5 minutes. I just went across the desert. I've been home for 5 minutes and this happened." But at the end, he's like, "Guess what kind of truck it was? It was a Ranger."
Crazy.
There's Casey online. He's like, "My house almost burned down when I got home." Yeah, that's it. Yeah, it was crazy. That's one of those things where you're like, "Oh, this was a good trip. I just want to go home and relax." Nope, you got to pack up all your stuff because it's about to burn down. So, for me, the takeaway was of the trip. Takeaways were great group. We had one U-turn that I'm taking credit for. That's it, guys. The first U-turn when I missed the trailhead at the beginning is the only navigational U-turn on the entire trip.
Well, I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna say at least 2. You turned around when you came and got me. It's not
No,
like you
you-
backed out of there. You turned around.
Jose, you
I'm gonna
gotta
say there
back.
was 2 as well.
No.
2 with an asterisk.
Yeah.
No,
but
you
I will
cannot-
say it's better.
Okay.
It's better than
You know
what
what?
everybody
Fine.
expected.
Next
right?
time, I'm not turning around to get you. I'm going to leave your ass stuck over there. You can't count that as a
Fine.
U-turn.
That's fine. I'll just
No.
hang out with ZR2 Dave. We would have had a great time camping.
Navigational
But
U-turn.
you also, when you came to like those the fork in the road, you would stop, and then you would look okay, and you made correct judgments. Usually, you just like, I think it's this way, and you're always wrong.
Yeah.
like you should just go, I think it's this way, so I'm going that way instead, and then you'd be correct most of the time.
So
But,
this-
you stopped most of the time.
This is what I did.
This trip.
I loaded the map in both my phone and the tablet in my truck. And on my phone, I had it zoomed out for the larger view of where we were headed. And on the tablet, I had it zoomed in. So I had it zoomed in. So as we came to those crossroads, I wasn't trying to, because in the past I was trying to zoom in and out and drive and be on the radio. So this way I could see overall we're heading this direction, right? The next stop is, approximately at my 10 o'clock. And I can see the zoomed in that has some of those cross sections. And now I can go, yeah, this makes sense with that. And it was way easier for me to navigate with having those 2 views rather than trying to use one tablet for everything and be on the radio. And so I think that's the ticket, is having the broad overview. And
So you had a tablet for left turns and a tablet for right turns?
yes. My right turn tablet was working.
That's how I heard it.
So I felt like that was, and the other thing I did, I told Tammy on the way home, in years past, I would map out so many different alternate routes, and just in case this happened, and I put it all on one map. So as we're coming up to a spot, I'd have to figure out, is this an alternate? Is this whatever? I didn't do that this year. I just mapped out the one path that I expected to take. I had a separate map with the alternate routes that I could have pulled up if I needed it, but it wasn't on the screen confusing me. So I felt really good about that. And I would say navigationally, this was the best trip we've had without and itinerary wise. And even though we joke about it, I mean, we knew we had to get to camp by about this time because sunset was going to be this time. And we made the decision as a group, we're going to skip this. We're going to go past this. And I mean, it just like clockwork. I felt really, really good I felt dialed in. I felt, I didn't have the anxiety like, oh crap, we're not going to make it to camp in time. And it just it felt like a really good trip for me. So,
Did you want me to compliment you or
No.
something right there?
I was
You want a
waiting.
gold star or something? Or
I was waiting for you guys to argue.
You did good.
I was waiting
did
for you,
better
I was
this
waiting for you guys to argue. So I'm going to say the official count was 1. Whoever had the under on the bet.
Yeah,
is-
you parlayed this weekend.
Yeah. Exactly.
So that was. So I feel good about the navigation. I feel good about the group. We had a great group. Everybody got along. Even like some of the new faces. Joey D was there, and he just instantly fit right in with the group. Like he'd been wheeling with us for years.
I was
Great.
about to say that, dude. It felt like he's been wheeling with us since day one.
Yeah. And then, there were a couple people we missed this year that, hopefully join us next year. I think now knowing, if we were to navigate the same way next year, having a little bit larger group would be less daunting. Knowing where,
for sure.
I think that the anxiety piece for me was always getting that many people lost. So I feel, if we have a similar trip next year, we could probably open it up to more people. I do think that on day 1, we need to push further, like we talked about earlier, and shorten down. I want to get almost to Kelso Road for day 1 and start the first thing. Day 2 is get through that whoop section while everybody's fresh. I loved the camping at Razor Road that last night because that was just fun. It was rather than trying to drive home that day. Although Tammy,
I couldn't imagine driving home yesterday night, dude.
no,
it would have.
But we've done that in years past where we got.
No, I know we did it last year. I mean, we did it last year, but
And Tammy was saying that she kind of likes the idea of going the other way, like we've done in the past, starting in California, ending in Laughlin, because that's like you get the camping out of your system, and then you get to Laughlin, you get to take a shower, have a dinner, whatever, and then drive home in the morning. My only thing with that is, under normal circumstances, that drive from Laughlin on Memorial Day Monday would be just murder.
I mean,
so she suggested, what if we did it? What if everybody took Friday off, went out Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Saturday night,
drove home
Sunday. So we'll look at that as a couple.
And that way is better too, because when you're driving from west to east, the sun's not in your eyes the whole way.
Okay, I didn't think of that. I'll take it. Sunglasses work for me, but whatever. I don't know. So I do think there's some modification. I definitely need to figure something out with my camping situation. I want the girls to go camping with me more. I want it to be comfortable for them. I am now looking at, we've talked about it in the past, I'm looking at
adventure trailers.
Adventure trailer, like the little mini utility trailer.
You just need the basic, that military one that's like the main one that everyone buys.
Yeah, with a rooftop.
I don't know what, M104 or something. Yeah. I don't know what it is, but it's just like the bare minimum trailer. You just put like a little rack so you can put your tent or something if you want. You don't even need the rooftop tent.
No, Smittybuilt makes, well, I don't want to set up a tent anymore. I want the rooftop tent. I don't want to set up the tent. Smittybuilt makes, they call it a Scout, and it's just a little utility trailer with a rooftop tent on top of it.
That's all. That's what everybody needs, dude.
I do really like Dave's setup with his ZR2 with the camper shell. I do think I want to go camper shell or rack of some sort, and then if I don't do the trailer, do the rooftop tent that I can take on and off. I don't want the rooftop tent Monday through Friday, but I want an easy way to get the tent off and on, so that because here's the thing, like. I think if I had a situation, and we've all like joked around about overlanding and why do you have the fridge and why do you have all this? Every piece of that makes it that much easier and more convenient and more comfortable. And I think if I had a system all dialed in like that, there'd be nothing stopping us from going, hey, let's just run to San Onofre for the night on Saturday and camp. But right now, it's like you got to get everything out of the attic. You got to make sure all the containers are there. Figure out how you're going to load it. It's a giant pain. So the Dometic, I borrowed a Dometic refrigerator from the Icon guys and talked to the guy at Dometic for a little while. I want to do a full review of the refrigerator, but I will tell you that I believe that I am a refrigerator guy and I need to find out how to get a refrigerator into my gear. Game changer on a lot of levels, and we'll talk.
Yeah, I'm done with the ice chest, dude. Because some of the stuff got wet, and I'm just like, ugh.
Well, that
and having to go buy ice. I'm over it, dude.
Yeah, we'll do a full review of the Dometic maybe next week. But that was the kicker. Like, we put the drinks in the ice chests, and it is what it is. But our meat, our cheese, all our eggs for breakfast, all of our stuff that we were making was in the refrigerator. I never had to worry about it. It stayed cold. Even overnight, it stayed cold. When we got to camp night 2 and Matt and Joe had to run to the store to get ice, that sealed it for me. I was like, I'm not even worried about it. All of my food goods are taken care of. Man, my drinks aren't that cold. But since you guys are getting ice, give me some ice. So I need to figure out how to make that happen.
Next time I'm going to say, F you, refrigerator guy. I'm not getting you any ice. You drink your warm sodas.
Yeah, you drink your mildly cool drink.
Well, I mean, we talked about that. It only takes, like a half hour or an hour before your stuff's cold, and that's the thing. That's always cold.
Yes.
It's not like taking your hot cans of soda or beer or whatever, and you're throwing them in the cooler and you're melting that ice, because you're adding more heat. It's you don't have to pack all you can just kind of throttle or control what you're putting in the fridge and just keep a circulate, I guess, I would think.
Yeah. I want to get the guy from Dometic on the show. We'll have a full conversation with him maybe in a week or two about it. But
the dry food aspect too, having all your so Monty did a great job and packed everything. She did all the grocery shopping. And then I explained, here's the problem. especially if I have the boys now, because I'm pretty minimalist. Like if I'm just doing myself, I'm like Jose. Like, just give me a cooler beer. I'm gonna keep some hot dogs, Danishes for breakfast, and rock stars. That's it.
Yeah.
I'll live on that stuff for the whole weekend. But this time I had some old coolers that I just kept all my dry stuff. But it is, as far as the lunch meat was concerned, and the perishables, the carne asada that I cooked, which was amazing. The carne asada I brought,
thank you again, Matt.
it was really came out really great. By the end of the weekend, that little pack, and I did, I had some like Tupperware in the cooler with the meat or whatever. It was still sloshing around.
Yeah.
You're like, I don't want to. The stuff inside is still good, but you're still like, that's just kind of gross.
Yeah.
Everything's floating food. Just is.
Water got into my the cheese packets I had.
Oh, yeah.
and the bread.
Oh, that's the
So
worst. That's
I
the
had to
worst.
throw that stuff away. It sucked, dude.
Yeah.
I'm over
Yep.
it.
Yeah, you know what, we've talked about. We are. I think the three of us are pretty much the same when it comes to minimalism, or like, I'm not going to spend money on that unless I need it. And having experienced a trip with the refrigerator, it now and the tent, my frustration with, and the amount of effort it took for me to set up and break down 2 nights in a row with the girls. What's my time worth? What's the experience worth? Like, you know what I mean? I was beat by the time I got my camp broke down this morning. How cool would it have been to
Dude, you were sweating, bro.
Yeah, just to be able to fold the sides in, fold the tent up, strap it up, and go. I mean, so I definitely need to figure out how to get a better setup. And I don't know if it's camper shell with a rooftop tent on top, a bed rack with a rooftop tent, a utility trailer with a rooftop tent, or what. I don't think I want a fully enclosed trailer. I think that would be too big and bulky. So I have to.
There's pros and cons to every single one of those options.
Tent on the way home. Yep.
Yeah, because the trailer would be ideal, but then you won't be able to bomb through the desert with a trailer.
Yeah, that's exactly what I said. I said that section where,
that's probably a good thing though, because
Probably.
I do it every time, and I know I'm gonna do it, like especially that specific area, because it's fun.
It's so fun.
But exactly.
It's hard on the truck though, dude.
It is, and then by the end of it, I'm like, why do I always do it so hard? Like,
why I always do it
it's
so
like
hard?
Cringy at the end of the day. Why is it so hard?
Why does it do it so hard?
But I was gonna say, like, if we do have a Dometic guy on, can we ask him, like, well, how are they once they come? When they come flying out of the bed of the truck because you're jumping things like a madman. How are those refrigerators? Can you just pick them back up off and put them back in the truck? They're pretty solid, or what?
Yeah.
I want to save my opinions on the Dometic for the actual review, but it handled everything this weekend. So yeah, I'm going to be looking for the next. For the next thing on the truck. It's going to be, I like the camper shell idea, because the camper shell, like Dave's set up in his truck. His truck was like,
Dave's truck, his setup is so good.
It's
dude.
so
He's
good.
efficient.
I mean,
he breaks down like quick.
Yeah.
He sets up everything.
Because I had the Bass Pro Shop in the back of the truck. We had bags. The bags of things we didn't want to get hot and didn't want to get dirty were in the cab with us, on top of the Dometic, next to the car seat, and I just felt like bags of crap were just like falling in on me every time I hit something, and we're trying to
push
stuff back with my elbow, and I want the cab to be the cab. I want the cab to be us, and that's it. Like, I don't want to feel like every time we opened a door, there was one bag of snacks that would fall out of the door every single time, and I almost threw it across the desert. Like, I don't want that. I want it to be comfortable in the car. And okay, you open up the back of the truck and everything is in its place. And when you get to camp, you click a couple buttons and stuff happens. You know what I mean? And I think after this adventure, seeing how well Presley did, I think that's going to be my push, is to figure out how to get that set up to a point where it's easy and convenient and comfortable for everybody on that trip. So,
yeah, I definitely need to get that rear bumper, with the spare tire carrier and the jerry can holder. Dude, that takes up so much room in my truck. And that tire's heavy, man. Like,
Thank you, Jose. It's only been
there it is.
148. 148.
that thing up and down the back of that truck, like dude.
I was watching you. I was watching you.
Yeah,
on,
I was like,
on day
I was like
one.
deadlifting, dude. I was like getting my position. I was like, all right, I gotta lift this tire.
He rolls the tire over to the back of the truck, and you can see he like hikes up his pants a little bit.
Yeah,
just puts his legs shoulder width apart.
yeah, I gotta like meditate, breathe, and then lift. Yeah, dude, I'm over that. It was jumping around like when I was chasing down Matt, dude. I don't know what was jumping around. Everything was jumping around back there.
Yeah,
I'm tired of all that, dude. I just want, like you said, I just want to be able to have as minimal things as possible in the truck, and then everything else outside hanging off or whatever.
Yeah, because once Damien starts coming with you, it's gonna be you're gonna have that much more stuff. You're gonna have the car seat.
Exactly.
You're gonna have I definitely got to figure out what the right combination is. And if anybody knows, if anybody has a toddler and has a setup, send me pictures, Cody at trailchasers.net. Send me pictures of your setup and what the pros and cons are, because I don't know if the right route is camper shell and tent, bed rack and tent, utility trailer and tent.
Yeah.
Pros and cons to everything. So,
and I know we get it. Like, you don't need any of those things to go out and wheel.
No.
But it's just at this point of our lives, it's so much just the quality of it.
Yeah, it's
the comfort of it, dude.
It's the comfort of it, for sure. Like, I mean, Matt was just saying, a cooler of Rockstar, some hot dogs, and Pop-Tarts.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, there were times as a single dude in my CJ7, I had a barbecue, a pack of hot dogs, and a 12-pack of Diet Mountain Dew. I was good for a full weekend. Like, that's all I needed. Yep. But it's a little bit different when you're camping with a family and you're doing longer trips and.
But it is nice. Like, again, the payoff of because I brought my barbecue this time. I have that like tailgate barbecue.
Yeah.
Usually I'd bum some time on your grill or somebody else's grill. I dragged out that barbecue and. Man, and I told myself, I'm going to bring carne asada, because to me, like when you're out and you're camping and you get like a really awesome taco, and that just makes the trip. I look forward to that. Like, I can't wait to fire up the grill when we stop.
Mm-hmm.
So it is, I guess you get older and you start like
appreciating it.
Yeah, let's have some tacos and let's have a cocktail. Relax and get ready for the night. Like we're gonna have a really bitchin' campfire. So,
and we did way more prep work this time than we'd done in the past. Like I pre-cracked the eggs and put them in a container, so I didn't have to have a thing of eggs. We pre-diced the sausage for breakfast. Tammy sliced up all the fixings for the burgers, and like we did all that.
Because all those little like seconds you save, turn into minutes, and then.
But that was also in relation to the refrigerator. Like, I wouldn't have done that.
That's true too.
I wouldn't have done that if I had to throw all that in the ice chest, right? It would have been wasted. But the fact that she could slice up tomatoes and onions or whatever, put them in a little container, put it in the bottom of the refrigerator, and they were 100% ready to go when it came time to have the burgers.
Yeah, for sure.
Total game changer. Totally changed the way we camp. So, Jeff in the chat asked, what kind of tent were you using? Is it an instant tent? No, I'm still using my 6-year-old Amazon Basics 4-man floor tent. Your standard shock pole.
Standard, yeah.
Yeah, it's
Matt has that folding tent.
Yeah,
that thing the Insta tent. Yeah,
that thing's great. I even got it back into the bag. Usually it's man, I'm tired. I don't want to deal. That's the worst. We were talking about that this morning. I would pay $100 if somebody would just come out, pack my shit, and hand me a breakfast burrito. Oh my God, I'd be like, thank you, gladly. I'll tip you. On
top of the 100.
If it depends on the burrito. I mean, it had to be a really good burrito. But I can't. That's like the worst thing. You're like tired and gross, and you just want to get on the road. Like, let's just get on the road. And that tent was literally just plop. It's 4 buttons, and the poles, the telescoping poles, just shoot together, and you just fold it in on itself, just like the the
shift pods.
The shift pods,
Yeah.
almost identical in a like assembly, and then they give you like a decent enough bag. Like, you know, it wasn't like, man, I don't want to have to sit here and fold a tent up in a specific way and make sure that I get every ounce of air out of it. And you know, I just want to go. I just want to give me a bigger bag. Like, who gives a shit if there's like a little sag, you know, like a little portion that's empty, you know, give me a big enough bag. That's it. And so I'm really happy with this tent. I didn't break any zippers, and the bag was big enough to put it back in. And it like a minute. It's a 60-second setup. And so I'm pretty stoked. I'm pretty stoked with it.
Yeah. Yeah, this was a great trip, man. I can't think of it. I can't think of anything that went wrong or things there's always room for improvement, but I felt like this was a great group, great trip. I'm really glad that everybody came, and I'm Joe sitting around this morning. Joe K's like, so what's the next trip? What, we got this going on, we got that going.
Oh yeah,
I was like, dude, all I needed to do was get here. Like after today, I have no idea what the next trip is. I'm sure we'll come up with something. But yeah, it's
going to have to be like in the mountains or unless we're waiting until fall.
We talked about 4th of July up in Big Bear. Maybe doing something up there, but even 4th of July weekend, it's 90 degrees up there. But anywhere else, unless I don't know what Mammoth is like, during the.
Oh, that's true. Heading up north.
But yeah, most of the places, the usual places we go, Ocotillo Wells, Johnson Valley, I'm not going anywhere near there until November.
No.
Like it's going to be a disaster. So, maybe some day runs or something, but I would like to clean everything up from this trip, figure out what the quote unquote next piece of gear is, get something, do a night run to test it out, and then make, do small adjustments as opposed to like just going out and getting, all the stuff, make small adjustments and then do a bunch of overnight trips just to test it out, and then, be ready for the next big long one.
My next piece of gear is hopefully some upper control arms pretty soon, and then finally get my truck set up.
So
awesome.
So the guys at Icon came through as expected. They do have shocks for the Frontier, the front coilovers, the rear shocks for the Frontier, and they were ready for pickup late Thursday, early Friday. And I was just like, there's no way that I'm going to be able to get to it to pick it up and be ready for this trip. So Matt's working on getting the upper control arms. Hopefully in the very near future, we're doing a full discussion about the lift on the Frontier and going from there. But, you guys, this was a great trip. I'm super happy with the way it turned out. And, I can't thank everybody enough for joining and just being such a great group.
Yeah. Again, everyone that came, thank you. It was a great group, dude. It was awesome. Like friends getting together. It was the best, dude. It was awesome.
I'm Presley, and thank you for listening. Thank you to Next and Tire. Thank you to Icon. If you want to be on the show, call 951-394-DIRT. Thank you to Ryan Torino with all of the music.